Let's bring you more of what Michelle Obama said to the Democratic convention yesterday, scathing attack on the US President Donald Trump and his fitness to continue in office. It was a pre-recorded message to the Democratic convention. The former First Lady argued the president's incapable of leading the country during what she described as a moment of crisis.
When my husband left office with Joe Biden at his side, we had a record-breaking stretch of job creation. We'd secured the right to health care for 20 million people. We were respected around the world, rallying our allies to confront climate change. And our leaders had worked hand in hand with scientists to help prevent an Ebola outbreak from becoming a global pandemic. 4 years later, the state of this nation is very different. More than 150,000 people have died, and our economy is in shambles because of a virus that this president downplayed for too long. And here at home, as George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and a never-ending list of innocent people of color continue to be murdered, stating the simple fact that a Black Life Matters is still met with derision from the nation's highest office. Because whenever we look to this White House for some leadership or consolation or any semblance of steadiness, what we get instead is chaos, division, and a total and utter lack of empathy. When we close out the noise and the fear and truly open our hearts, we know that what's going on in this country is just not right. So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is. So if you take one thing from my words tonight, it is this. If you think things cannot possibly get worse, trust me, they can and they will if we don't make a change in this election. If we have any hope of ending this chaos, we have got to vote for Joe Biden like our lives depend on it.
Well, let's talk now to the chair of Democrats Abroad UK, Inga Kentrup. Inga, thank you very much for talking to us. What did you think of what Michelle Obama had to say?
Well, she is her usual eloquent, straightforward personality, and it's wonderful to see the former First Lady take on Trump, but also to talk about what the big battle we have ahead in order to bring back our country, the challenges we have with the coronavirus crisis, the challenges we have with our economy, and so many other things. It's just wonderful to see her eloquence again and speaking so directly and from the heart. It was a really moving moment.
Did you think she had enough to say about Joe Biden? She said he was a profoundly decent guy. Is that it?
I think she had a lot of other things to say as well about him. She talked a lot about his empathy, and frankly, in this day and age, that's important. His decency and kind of how he has a moral compass. So there wasn't a lot of comparing and contrasting, which I think is necessary at this point. But she, like all the other speakers on the evening, mentioned how there are real problems and there are solutions. It was also interesting to hear from Senator Bernie Sanders when he talked about the same issues. And his big statement was, this is not normal, and we should not treat it as it is, and strongly urged his followers to support Vice President Biden, because if not, all the progress that they have made, all the movement that the Senator Sanders followers have made will be in jeopardy, as will, in fact, without putting it too dramatically, the entire democracy that we have now.
Why do you say the entire democracy? Are you thinking about the what's going on with the Postal Service?
Yeah, and that's something that as an overseas American voter, I really think about because of course I have to vote by post.
Sure.
And that's
Before you
something-
carry on with that, Inga, we have an audience from around the world. So just for those who want to learn more about this, Donald Trump has indicated that he wants to defund the postal service. Obviously, postal ballots will be really important in this time of coronavirus as we head up to the November presidential election. And just explain why that's significant, why it's an issue for the Democrats.
Well, in part because so many people are not going to be able to make it in person to the polls. People who are, suffering because of health issues, suffering because of social distancing, and in addition to wanting to close down the post office, essentially, a lot of polling places are being shut. So, I think Trump can't win by appealing to all that he's done and the way he's wrecked things. So he's working really hard to make it hard for people to vote. And shutting down the post office is one of those ways. People get other services from post office too. People get medications, people get key things in the post. So it's not just affecting voters, it's affecting the whole country. And I think people are fairly appalled about that. I know we are when we send our ballots out. As I said, we do have to send out our ballots as overseas voters. So I have to briefly mention you can go to votefromabroad.org if you're an American and you can help vote your ballot, which you should probably do today. I know it's August, but we have to move quickly.
Thank you very much. Inga, thank you very much for talking to us this morning. Inga Kemtrup, who is chair of Democrats Abroad UK. Thank you for your messages. If you're an A-level student, a GCSE student, a BTEC student here in the UK, then certainly the government in England, the Westminster government, has announced a U-turn on how exams will be graded. That came yesterday. Let me read you this email from Thomas Grindley. He's a sixth form A-level student in Liverpool, and he's talking about a friend of his who was given a U for chemistry on results day. After working hard for the past 2 years and passing all his mocks, he achieved a U. How does that work? He's decided to resit the exam in October and take a gap year, but things like this has affected people's university places, and now some people can't go to uni because their places have been filled. It really, really has been a disastrous week, and I hope the government are proud of themselves as they have messed with young people's futures as well as our mental health. This on Instagram from Naz. As a GCSE student, the U-turn is a major relief. It would have been impossible to relearn 5 years' content in a few weeks ahead of a resit, and I trust my teacher's predictions way more than I'll be able to trust a computer-generated grade. I have had one email from a woman called Irene who says, please remind people that the majority of students did get what they needed to go to their first choice university place. I have just done that. Now, the political crisis in Belarus continues over the disputed election.